JapanesePod101 です。
おはよう東京。こんばんはニューヨーク。こんにちはロンドン。
Hi everyone, Jessie です。Jessie here.
こんにちは、もとこです。
Welcome to Absolute Beginner Season 2, Lesson 7. How much do things cost in Japan? Thanks for joining us again for our Absolute Beginner Season 2 series. Alright, so in the last lesson, we learned how to ask how someone is and how to respond to that question.
Yes, we learned 元気ですか?
How are you?
And はい、元気です。
I'm fine. That's right. And in this lesson, we'll learn how to ask how much something is.
Yes, what's happening in the conversation?
This conversation is a continuation from the last lesson, and Taylor and Kaori are still talking on Skype. This time, they'll be talking about the exchange rate between US dollars and Japanese yen.
Okay, let's listen to the conversation.
今、円は本当に高いです。
そうですか？1ドルはいくらですか
1ドルは78円です。
？78円？高い。
Let's listen to the conversation again slowly.
今、円は本当に高いです。
そうですか。1ドルはいくらですか
1ドルは78円です。
78円。高い。
Now, let's listen to it with the translation.
今、円は本当に高いです。
The yen is really strong at the moment.
そうですか ?1 ドルはいくらですか
Really? How much is $1?
1ドルは78円です。
$1 is 78 yen.
78円高い。
78 yen? That's strong. So, Taylor and Kaori are talking about the current exchange rate.
Yes, they're talking about 円とドル, yen and dollars. It sounds like the yen is very strong.
It does. This is actually the current situation in Japan right now.
Yes, the yen is very 高い or strong.
高い. This actually means expensive, right?
Yes, like an expensive price.
But when talking about currency, the translation becomes strong.
That's right. 高い.
Again, this means expensive or strong when talking about currency. And what's the opposite word?
安い.
安い, cheap, inexpensive, and also weak when talking about currency.
安い.
I think it's best to remember them as a pair. One more time, Motoko. They are?
高い, expensive, and 安い, cheap.
Great. So when talking about prices and currency, it really helps to know big numbers, doesn't it?
Definitely.
So let's review numbers 20 through 100. Now, to get numbers like 20, 30, 40, and so on, it's best to think of how many tens there are in that number.
For example, 20 is 2 tens, right? 2 is 2, and 10 is 10. So 20 is 20.
20, 2 tens, or 20. And the pattern just keeps on going like that, with the first number changing. So, for example, 30 is
30,
40 is
40,
50 is
50,
60 is
60,
70 is
70,
80 is
80,
and 90 is
90.
Great. So those are the multiples of 10. If you have a more complex number, like, say, 53, you just say 50 and then 3. So again, 50 is
50,
plus 3.
3,
So altogether,
53.
53. 53. Not that bad, right? You're just putting the pieces together. Let's try one more. How about 27?
Okay, 20, 20, plus 7, 7, 27
27. 27. Okay, listeners, are you ready to try one? How about 88?
Remember that 8 is 8.
All right, so if you said,
88
then you've got your numbers down. All right, let's move on to the lesson focus. In this lesson, you'll learn how to ask how much something is.
It's very simple.
Yes, very simple. Motoko, could you give us the pattern?
Sure. It is A はいくらですか?
This follows our A is B pattern. A はいくらですか? Let's break this down.
A
The item you're talking about.
はいくら
How much?
ですか?
So one more time.
A はいくらですか?
A はいくらですか? Okay, so in place of A, we can put the item that you're talking about.
If you are in the shop, words like this and that are very useful.
Good point. Listeners, do you remember how to say this and that?
This is これ and that is それ.
Let's put them into our pattern.
Okay, これはいくらですか?
これはいくらですか? How much is this? You can say this as you point to something close to you. これはいくらですか?
That's right. We also have それはいくらですか?
それはいくらですか? How much is that? You can say this as you point to something that's farther away. それはいくらですか?
Let's practice with the listeners.
Sounds good. Listeners, repeat after Motoko. How much is this?
これはいくらですか?
Great. And again, please repeat. How much is that?
それはいくらですか?
Okay, sounding good. Now let's take a look at the example we had in the dialogue.
Sounds good.
Taylor mentioned that the yen was really strong at the moment.
今、円は本当に高いです。
And so Kaori asked Taylor how much $1 was in yen.
1ドルはいくらですか?
1ドル $1 はいくら How much ですか?
1ドルはいくらですか?
Great. Now here's a hint. If you're already talking about something and you want to ask how much it is, you can simply ask いくらですか?
いくらですか? It's simply how much is it?
So if the object you're asking about is obvious, try asking just いくらですか?
Yes. Please repeat after me. いくらですか?
Okay. By the way, how do we answer the question いくらですか?
Good question. You can say A は amount です or just amount です.
Okay, so again, that's は amount です or even just amount plus です. For example, when Kaori asked Taylor how much $1 was in yen, Taylor said,
1ドルは78円です.
$1 is 78 yen. He could have also just said 78円です, right?
That's right.
All right, now that we've got that question down, let's have the listeners practice some more.
Sure.
Listeners, pretend that you're at a store and you see something that you like. It's close to you and you point to it and ask how much it is. What do you ask?
Here is a hint. This is これ.
Okay, the answer is
これはいくらですか?
how much is this? Okay, and now the item you're asking about is farther away. You point to it and ask how much it is. What do you ask?
Here is a hint. That is それ.
Okay, and the answer is
それはいくらですか?
how much is that?
Great job, everyone.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this lesson. For practice, try making sentences in the comments asking how much something is.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Until next time.
じゃあまた.
今、円は本当に高いです。
そうですか ?1 ドルはいくらですか
1ドルは78円です。
円高い。